What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another inter-equity trading video. Today we're going to be continuing the fan favorite series, Training the Eye. This is going to be episode number 5, debatably my favorite episode yet. A lot of you guys in the comments have been talking about making these episodes longer. So yes, I made this one a little bit longer to make you guys happy. All right, please focus, take notes, and don't skip through these parts of the videos. There's lots of value in this episode. If you guys like the video, smash the thumbs up, drop a comment down below, get those notifications turned on, subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you soon. All right, guys, so here we are on GJ 30-minute time frame. We're only going to bounce between a couple time frames. Honestly, remember, the sole purpose of these videos, this whole series, is to train your eyes as much as possible, right? So we always like to start with a naked chart. Okay, this is very standard, and we're going to mark everything up accordingly. All right, making sure you guys are following along the whole time. Please don't be afraid to rewind the video as time progresses to kind of, again, get those repetitions and train the eye to see what we see. Okay, so what I usually like to do is I just kind of focus on like the overall swing points, right? And I just want to see where liquidity is, what areas we're reacting to, what highs and lows have been swept, okay, and then reacting accordingly. So right away I can see at the lows down here, price has swept out previous lows. Okay, now why is this important? Why is this run on liquidity important? We can see that we've been building liquidity in this whole area, right? And you have this whole range here, and we've been building, and then look at this, price induces higher, and then we get a rapid sell-off to the downside. Look at that 130-minute candle, big sell-off to the downside, sweeping that liquidity there. Okay, so any buyers buying above this low, liquidated. Okay, taken out of the market. All right, then price ends up going bullish, and then this is kind of price action I don't really involve myself in because we just had price takes the high, gets a pullback and goes long out of here. I don't typically trade from these kind of areas. Now we can follow along with price action here. Price induces higher, right? And what does that mean? We induce buyers into the market. So we're going to bump down here to the 15-minute time frame to open this up as much as possible. And again, you can see that price is taking out this high, printing a new high in the market. Bear with me for a second here. I forgot to mention that before taking out this high, we swept this level of liquidity. Why is this liquidity? Very simple. Once again, look at this. We get this buildup of liquidity here, and then that rapid sell-off to the downside, sweeping that liquidity. Okay, then we go and print that new high, taking out previous highs. Okay, what happens after that? And again, I'm going to bump down a time frame because we want to analyze this PA right here. Okay, and everybody always likes to say to me, what time frame do you use to analyze price action? What time frame do you use to identify liquidity? I use every single time frame, and this is a great example for you guys. PA is very squeezed up here on the 15-minute, so all we have to do, go down to the 5, and now we can break this down. So what do we see? Very simple, in my opinion. Look at this buildup of liquidity here, rangy, then we go long. Okay, telling me we've left liquidity below these lows, and look what price does for us. We come back and we sweep it. So per the system, we now understand that this can be entry number 1. Let me draw this out for you guys real quick. Okay, and we're going to talk about targets in the future. So for now, we'll bump it up here. All right, bear with me. We'll talk about targets eventually. Again, this is all about training the eye to see these things. You need to identify a buildup in the market, okay, which is what we've done. Price ends up coming down and sweeping it. Perfect. We want to see that occur because now anybody buying below here, they've been trapped, and we're able to take the buy as soon as the liquidity is taken, right at 199.603 because we have a liquidity block supporting our entry. Okay, and again, these are the things you want to train your eye to do. You want to be able to identify these liquidity blocks. Why is this a liquidity block? Very simple. Price ran a level of liquidity, created this low, and moved away to the upside, leaving a liquidity block, which is basically what we take our entries off of. Now let's continue following along and trading that eye as much as possible. We have left liquidity at the high, which what price ends up running for. Then the same thing occurs. So we're going to drag this over. We'll move this buy tool over to clean up the chart as much as possible. But same thing. We take the high and then take the lows. Okay, and then price moves bullish once again to the upside. Now I hope you're starting to see the consistent cycle of price building liquidity, taking it out, and then moving in the correct direction. And look what happened here. Price built, induced, trapped, and then moved in the intended direction. Same thing over and over and over. So let's continue on with price action. And we're going to go back to the 15 just because we don't want to be too zoomed in here. We want to get a good idea of where price is heading to overall and why. So here's that first entry we were talking about. After price takes out this high, you no longer want to be looking for buys right away because you're going to be trading above old highs. So look at this price action. Even this buy down here, not typically an entry I'd be involving myself in. Yes, it played out on the lower time frames. However, since we're now trading above this high, I do want to see more PA develop. And look what happens here. We build a lot more price action. Look at this high and look at this high. 1 and 2. Why did we sell off here? And why did this high sell off all the way back down to the lows? Look to the left, and I can see that we have been bumping our heads into this high on the left-hand side. So we'll drag that all the way over, and you can see, look at this, once and twice, tapping into this area, okay? And then look, we induce sellers, trap them, and that's why price moves down to the downside, all right? However, we have now left liquidity above this high. So look what we can do. Boom, just like that. That's gonna be a future target for us. All right. Now, again, we want to be training our eye over and over. What do we see? We've taken the high. Okay. Why is this important? It induces buyers into the market. Now, we have levels of liquidity down here, another low down here. And let's go to the 5 minute again, because we just want to open up this price action as much as possible. We're going to be looking at this PA up here. Price takes out this low. All right. Then we get that pullback up into this internal high up here. Look what we do. We respect this high once, twice, 3 times, and then fuels the sell-off to the downside, telling us we have liquidity above that high. Price is essentially leaving us a bunch of hints that we're going to be moving bullish eventually, right? We're not just going to buy. No, that needs to make sense, of course. But look how it's leaving hints, right? And remember the higher time frame, this blue line up here, and now in the lower time frames, these internal highs, it's leaving continuous hints that we could head to the upside. Okay, from this point, when we sell off, we take out internal point here, internal point here. Okay, don't forget the entry that we took before now becomes an LB. Buildup of liquidity. We stab it out, create this low, and now it could be used as an LB for the future. All right, so if you never took any partials here on this initial buy entry down here, you might have gotten taken LB, which is completely fine. Understand now though that this low shouldn't be taken. Okay, it should be respected. Again, why? It ran liquidity and moved away to the upside. That's it. And then think about it from a buyer's perspective. Okay, we want to mark on all these things again, just to train those eyes as much as possible. Since price is taken out this high here, retail is going to view this as BOS to upside. There's going to be buying pressure at the low. Look how the market respected it, inducing buyers here. Still going long, building liquidity at the low. Okay, you want to see this occur. You want to see that trap happen. Then we get that sell off to the downside. Perfect. How can we take an entry? We need to see a buildup. We need to see a run of that buildup. We need to see a liquidity block form for us, basically. And then the whole cycle starts again, over and over and over. What do we get here? And I'll mark this out just for the sake of this. View this as liquidity. Low, respected low, and look again, and then moves to the upside, taking out highs, leaving liquidity at the lows. I know what this whole picture here might not look like it, but we'll zoom in. Price took this low out here. Okay, but when we're zoomed out, you don't see it really. You just got to zoom in to really identify it. Okay, giving us a liquidity block. Same thing. It is not hard to identify these LBs, these liquidity blocks we call them. Why? It's just we need to see a pool of liquidity built, and then we stab it and move away, leaving an LB for us. Okay, it's very simple. Okay, now the same thing needs to occur. Look at this, very clean. High, taken out, printing a new high. So this is going to be viewed as a trap. Look how price respects it once, twice, and moves to the upside, leaving liquidity at the low. Okay, now this is actually an entry I took, but I'll show you guys. Look at this. This is for hours, guys, hours and hours and hours. You got to understand that the common retail trader, they're going to be buying these lows down here. And I just drew this out, but you can see that we traded above this low for 5.5 hours. So just only imagine how much liquidity was being built below this low. Finally, price stabs it out. Look at this, buy entry. Okay, again, why is it a buy entry? We have trapped buyers. We have a target. Why do we have a target? Look at this. Look at the liquidity we're building at the highs. A ton on the lower time frames, but don't forget the higher time frame where this all started from, here. Okay? Entry taken on the sweep of the lows. Now you can see we have imbalance down here. LB to support our entry. So stop loss is going to go below the low. Very simple. Okay, and what can we target? You have a target here. Depending on, see the thing is, and this is a whole different conversation. We'll tap into this in future videos for sure. But you have multiple targets. And again, look at the hints price is leaving for you guys. And this is again why I want to train those eyes as much as possible. Highs left, and then also highs left. Okay, leaving more and more hints for you guys that we need to move to the upside, right? So multiple targets. You have one being here. You have one being up here. We'll drag it over. Okay, look what happens after we take out these highs too. You get that pullback. Coincidence? There was liquidity above this high. That's why the market gives you a reaction back down to the downside. And of course, then finally, the last target would be up here for 72 pips, a 1 to 7.8. Of course, you don't have to hold full volume to 1 to 7.8. You could partial here, you could partial here, and then of course you have that last target. But I want you guys to see the repetitiveness of how we trade and how we even choose our targets. Every single target has a reason. There's liquidity lying at these highs. Okay, we're not just random highs. There's liquidity lying at these highs, one being here, another being here, and then finally, last target being here. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video of Training the Eyes episode 5. I'm gonna continuously bring these videos out. You guys seem to love them. You're getting a lot of value from them. Again, please drop a like, comment down below what else you guys wanna see from us. Also, I haven't mentioned this before, but we trade live every single day within our community. All our links will be in the description down below, and I will see you guys soon.